Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Are you a god?
I'd buy that for $1.
What are you? I'm Batman.
When someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
Welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
We have such sights to show you.
And we're here. We are back with another episode of Bill and Claire's Excellent Adventures, or who I'm supposed to call Daddy.
Yes, I do very much strongly prefer to be called Dad by you or Daddy.
Especially because I'm his daughter, so that would be weird if I'm calling you Bill.
That's what I'm saying.
And so, anyways, today...
But I'm going to go ahead and just interrupt for 1 second. I'm going to let you carry on with the introduction of the podcast in a second, but this is a point of hot contention. Claire really wants to use Bill or Billy in the podcast, and I personally do not want to go in for it. So I've set the rule that she has to refer to me as Dad or Daddy, as she does in every other day of her existence, and that she can use my first name in the introduction of the podcast, but not after that. Once was the deal. See, she says once or twice, like we didn't just negotiate for 10 minutes down to once.
Okay, anyways, today...
All right, go ahead.
Anyways, today we're going to be watching Innerspace. It's about a hapless store clerk. Hapless means sort of like happy, like he's not happy.
I think hapless means like actually
overworked?
No, definitely not overworked. What is the exact definition of hapless? Watch this.
He's searching it up on Google.
Yeah. Especially of a person unfortunate. So if you're one of the many hapless car buyers who've been shafted. Oh, that's a really good example sentence. Jeez. Okay. But yeah, so it means an unfortunate person. All right. So hapless store clerk
must foil criminals to save the life of the man who miniaturized in a secret experiment was actually injected into him. The name is on... So the director is Joe Dante. The writers are Chip Prosser, the story, Jeffrey Boehm, screenplay, and then...
Do you know, I'm just curious, do you know the difference between when they're credited for story versus screenplay? Do you understand what that means?
Yeah. Chip Prosser, or Prosser, wrote the script for the story, and then Jeffrey Boehm sort of wrote how he wanted them to do it in the screenplay.
So a story is like the idea of the events that happen. So like the story idea would be like, okay, so there's going to be a miniaturization experiment. It's going to go wrong. It'll wind up in a guy. The guy will be a store clerk.
But it was
all these
supposed
things
to
will
be
happen.
A rabbit.
Right. A screenplay is the guy or the person who hears the idea
and turns it into a big story.
And turns it into a script where you have character's name, the line that they say, character's name, the line that they say, the exact words that they say.
Sort of like how in the script that we did for MEAs.
For your schools.
Code to the Future program. I was picked to do like one of those like introduction things where all the parents come and the teachers and all that. And I was picked to do it, and I got a script. It sort of looks like that. It sort of looks like one of those movie scripts. So like it'll say your name, and then a lot of times the person will ask you to highlight your parts so you don't accidentally rehearse someone else's parts.
Yeah, that's an important part.
Can you go back to the other page so I can name the stars?
Oh, yeah, right.
And the stars are Dennis Quaid, Martin Short, and Meg Ryan.
Now, you are very familiar with Martin Short. Well, very familiar is wrong, but you're at least familiar because we learned in the Blade episode when talking about Deacon Frost that you enjoyed Jack Frost's performance in the Santa Claus 3. And Jack Frost in that movie is played by Martin Short. And I think we were talking before, and maybe that's the only movie that you've seen Martin Short in?
Is the clerk who's played by Martin Short, because he sort of sounds like Jack Frost.
Yeah, that's Martin Short. Yeah.
And I'm guessing Dennis Quaid is the man inside of him. Mm-hmm. And then Meg Ryan is his girlfriend.
I think so. Definitely somebody. Yeah, I think Meg Ryan is Dennis Quaid's girlfriend in the movie. She wasn't in the trailer, was she? Do you remember seeing her?
Yeah, she was the girl with the black hair that he kissed right before getting into that thing.
You're right. Good memory. Good recall. Excellent. All right, so you've seen the trailer.
It was like 10 minutes ago, so.
It was like 10 minutes ago. That was a long time ago. You've seen the trailer. Joe Dante is the guy who directed this movie. And do you remember the movie where the toys come to life and they're two opposing armies of toys? Like one is the soldier toys and the other is like an army.
Toy Story?
No, not Toy Story, although Toy Story is a good movie. No, Small Soldiers is the one that I'm thinking of. I was watching it one day and you came out and sat and watched it. Yeah. So the guy who directed that movie is also Joe Dante. So this is not your first Joe Dante movie either. Yeah.
Oh, and the writers, I don't know if this is important for it, but I guess it might be important because it is a Joe Dante movie. Mm-hmm. So the writers are Gavin Scott and Adam Rifkin, mm-hmm. and the stars are Kristen Dunst, Gregory Smith, and David Cross. I'm betting David Cross is the bad toy soldier that you see right there, and then Gregory Smith is the good toy soldier, and then Kristen Dunst is the one who broke them.
No, I think Tommy Lee Jones is the soldier guy in this, and David Cross is the kind of Weasley inventor of the technology, I think.
That commercial looks so weird.
Where is the soldier? All right, we're off track. We're talking about Small Soldier. We're meant to be talking about Innerspace. So you watched the trailer for Innerspace. What do you think of what you saw so far, and are you excited to watch the movie?
I am excited to watch the movie, but just talking about the Small Soldiers makes me want to watch that for the podcast next week.
Well, Small Soldiers is a good choice, but you've seen Small Soldiers, and
I don't really remember. I was like 7, I would say, and I only got to see like the last 30 minutes of it.
Well, you make a convincing case. There are a lot of good Joe Dante movies that we should watch.
We're getting more off track.
Yeah, we are. So, what did you think of the Innerspace trailer? Are you excited to watch it?
Yeah, I thought it. I really don't want it. I really hope that there's not a whole bunch of kissing in the movie.
Why?
Because that's disgusting.
Why is it disgusting?
Because what ruined. I used to think kissing was romantic, and then I watched the Blade movie where when they kissed, they would look inside their mouths.
Oh, yeah, that's very graphic, huh? And then all of a sudden it seemed gross.
That happened in Fuller House.
Kissing with tongues happened in Fuller House?
Yeah, between Kimmy and Fernando.
Is that her husband? Boyfriend? Ex-husband?
Ex-husband. Husband, ex-husband, boyfriend, husband, ex-husband again.
So
was weird.
Yeah, okay, all right. I don't know how much kissing is in this movie. I guess we'll find out.
I hope there isn't a lot. What?
All right, do you have anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
If you have never seen this movie, I would recommend watching it and then finishing this podcast.
Because we are definitely going to spoil stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, if you haven't seen Innerspace, treat yourself. It's a great movie.
And hilarious.
Yeah. All right, well,
that's what I've heard.
That's what you've had. I know, because you haven't seen it. But on that note, let's jump out of here and go watch the movie.
Bye, people. I'll be opening it up in the post. Just to let you know.
Jack, you've always been like a son to me. Well, a nephew anyway. You got a great future ahead of you in retail food marketing. I just hate to see you throw it all away by going psycho on us.
And we're back. We just finished watching the Innerspace movie. Daddy, or should I call you Billy? But I know I shall call you Daddy.
I'm 100% certain you have used your one for this episode. It's one per episode, not one per segment. Oh, she says. So yes, your question was?
What did you think about the movie?
I love this movie. I'm a huge fan of it. What did you think about it?
I really liked it. I especially liked the baby inside its stomach.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't recognize it at first. It looked like an alien because his eyes were so spread apart.
Were you surprised to find out that she was pregnant?
No, not that much. And I remember her hair being messed up and everything, and she was mad at him. During the movie, I thought, wait a minute, maybe she was mad because he made her pregnant or something, and she was like, because like if you remember, she was like, no, don't go through this.
When we were watching the movie, we paused to talk about the relationship breaking up, and what did you say you thought the reason was for their breakup?
Because he was too self-absorbed.
I thought that was a pretty astute observation. What do you think made him so self-absorbed? Do you think that he was doing it to be mean? Why do you think he was doing it?
I think because a lot of times veterans or like working generals or lieutenants or colonels or whatever,
people who serve in the armed forces.
Yeah, a lot of times they think that they're so special they can do whatever they want, like sort of how rich kids are spoiled.
And what makes you think that?
Because, wait, which part? The rich kids are spoiled, or like him being spoiled?
No, I don't totally understand what you mean about like lieutenants and generals in the like officers in the armed forces. Why do you think that?
I think it's because they have so much power and they're so like, and they have a lot of responsibilities. They think that they're one of the most important people in the United States or in the world.
And is this based on what you've seen in movies?
No, not a lot. Well, yeah, some movies.
What's another character that kind of makes you think that?
I kind of feel Fernando from Fuller House, because he's sort of like the colonel of a race car track. He's spoiled.
So bosses. It's less about military and more about bosses.
Yeah, and people who feel they have more power than others.
Well, it sounds like it sounds less like it sounds like less what you're talking about is about the military in general, and more what you're talking about is common traits among men. Do you think that that's more in line? I mean, because you're talking about how Fernando acts in Fuller House, right? And the common trait there is that they're both men.
Yeah.
Not so much that they're in the armed services. So men often feel as though they are self-important and the center of attention. And you've noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah? What do you think about that?
I don't really know. Because I don't see a lot of that.
So you don't see it at school or anything when you're there?
No, but I hear about it.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, there's some kid in 3rd grade and some kid in 5th grade who has parents that are like lieutenants and colonels in the army, and they think that they're so important they don't have to do their homework, and then if they get bad grades, their parents can just forge it into A's.
So you have friends who are using
friends.
Of people who use their parents as excuses and get out of jail free cards for doing homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting bad grades on tests.
Right, but again, that's not the military. That's boys and men again, it sounds like.
It's not. One of them is a girl.
Spoiled kids then.
Yeah, but I was saying wasn't getting to my point. My point is they talk about their parents so much that they feel like they're the most important.
Yeah. Like
so they're just going around doing stuff they want and expecting their parents to be like, we could just put you in a private school at the end of this summer and you could just start over.
And does that cause problems or challenges for you at school?
No, especially because they're in different grades.
Why do you find it so frustrating?
Because I feel like that being powerful in smartness is better than being powerful in just in particular.
I'm not sure if you're using that word right. What do you mean by in particular?
I mean, like, in general. So, like, a lot of people feel they have... So, like, when I was talking about they feel they have power because their parents are important.
Okay, I see.
I feel that being smart... Because you can't be, like, a lieutenant or a colonel or a general in the army if you don't have good records on your work.
So if you want to be a successful person, you have to be smart, and you have to
Yes.
rely on yourself and not on your parents, is what you're saying. You can't trade on somebody else's reputation. You have to be the person that you're going to be.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Do you have anything else that you want to say about that in particular?
People out there who feel they aren't strong, but because people call them nerds because they're smart, you're more powerful than them because you're smart.
Brains over brawn.
Yeah.
As the expression
What's
goes.
brawn?
I'm making a
Muscles?
strongman gesture. Yeah. Brains over power. Yeah, I suppose it's important. It's important to use your brain. It's important to be smart about the stuff that's going on around you, and it's definitely a key part of life and success.
The only job that lets you not have to be smart is no job at all.
I like that. So when she broke it off with him for being self-absorbed, do you think she made the right choice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, 2 months later, he was way more focused on other people than he was about himself.
So you think he changed a lot in those 2 months?
Yeah. Especially because he really liked her, and then he left, and I'm pretty sure he knew that she left him for not being self-absorbed and doing some things that she didn't like.
Like going to parties and drinking and getting in fights and being irresponsible.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose, too, if she was thinking about the fact that she was pregnant, she's wondering, well, wait, how am I going to raise a kid with a guy who likes to go out to parties and get drunk and behave like a child? I can't have 2 children. I need 2 parents and 1 child to start. You think?
Yeah.
And so you think he changes by the end of the movie?
He's more by the end of the movie, because like you don't hear him talk a lot about himself. The only part he's talking about himself is when Jack is asking him what he's like, what he looks like, and all that. But he doesn't really talk about himself normally when he's inside, and Jack doesn't ask those questions. He's normally helping Jack do things that he couldn't have done.
Do you know, I think that's right. And I think that's one of the things that I love about the movie is because, like you said, he's so self-important and self-absorbed at the beginning of the movie. I love that the big idea of this movie is to take a guy with a really big ego, a big head, thinks very much of himself, and shrink him down to as small as he could possibly be so that he has to rely on somebody else. And I think he learns lessons while he's doing that. And I like that little flip.
I have a relation.
Okay.
In the end of Descendants 1, Mal's mother...
Hang on. Descendants is a Disney-owned show about the children of Disney villains and princesses, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right, so Descendants 1.
Just at the end of Descendants 1...
Spoilers.
Yes, spoilers. So if you're a kid and you haven't seen Descendants, or if you're an adult and you haven't seen Descendants and you want to, you probably might want to, because again, we give a lot of spoilers about movies.
All right, that's true.
So at the end of Descendants 1, Mal, which is one of the main characters, it says a spell that says, shrink to the size of the love in your heart, shrink to the size of the love in your heart, shrink to the size of the love in your heart. And the love in her heart is the size of a pea.
Yeah.
And so my relation is like when you said turn a guy who's so self-absorbed in how he looks and how other people think of him and shrink him to the size of how he feels about others.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had the relation. It meets up in the shrinking of how much something they had. They don't have the relation of not having a big heart, or well, sort of they do, because he has a big heart about himself. She has a big heart about even evil.
Yeah.
By the way, when I say she, I'm not talking about Mal, I'm talking about Maleficent.
Right. I think that's a really good comparison. I like that a lot. I think it's very fitting and very similar to the message that they were kind of going for in this movie.
And sometimes we give morals. I think the moral of this story was so this I'm gonna make one real moral and then one in like the movie world. I'm gonna say the first one.
Okay.
If you don't want to be shrunk, don't be a big ASSHOLE.
Okay. I don't know what I thought you were going to say, but it definitely wasn't that. All right, so what is the movie moral?
The movie moral is wait, I just said the movie moral.
Oh, that's the movie moral. What's the other moral?
The other moral, like to help you with real life scenarios, is if you want to be in a relationship with someone, if you want to be able to succeed in life, I actually have two. The first one is you've got to be smart if you want to succeed in life, have a relationship, have kids, all of that. You need to be smart to do all of those things. You need to be smart to even have a house. And the other thing is if you want to be able to be one of the, like some people want to be some of the most important in the world.
Okay.
If you want to be the most important in the world, you first have to rely on others and your smartness, and not how you look and others feel about you.
If you want to be the most important person in the world, the first thing that you have to do is make the rest of the world the most important thing to you.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's great. I think that's absolutely great.
And you have to be smart.
How do you think one becomes smart?
Really just getting A's or B's.
And
B's or C's.
What's the secret to getting good grades and being smart?
Study.
Yeah, practice.
Yeah.
You have to...
Or if you're some of these people like my my guidance teacher, sometimes she comes into the classroom. She gave us like a paper, like a worksheet, and we would check off boxes, and whichever had the most is the best way to study. So there's hearing, which you like to hear the person talking and then memorize it in your head. You like to visualize, learn it through your eyes, or you like to do both. You like to hear the teacher talk, you like to hear it and then visualize it. I like hearing and visualizing because it's easier for me to memorize that way. So, and then on the back side it said which is best for you: memorizing, studying every day, or just not studying at all and don't even memorize anything. She said the worst is to never study. The best is to study every day. And what could get some people somewhere, people who have higher IQs, like if you don't know what an IQ is like how smart you are, right?
I guess. I don't know how much stock I put in IQs, but I understand your point.
So depending on how smart you are, some people are able to memorize it in their head and be able to just look it over in their head. Sometimes it'll fail a couple times, but it won't be like, I don't know anything, I forgot to study.
But that goes back to your original point, right? About studying and understanding about, relying on other people or other people's opinions of you and all that sort of stuff. And it comes down to you have to learn how your brain absorbs information, and then you have to do whatever you need to do in order to learn better, right? Because you could be different from me. Like you were just saying, how many different kinds of learning styles are there, right? And, people have issues or challenges with the way that they learn or process information. And some of those things aren't changeable for them. And so they have to learn how to work with their brain and be the best at using it as they possibly can. I mean, I think that's the key to being smart at the end of the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we talked quite a bit about the story and the morals, which I think are wonderful in the movie. I really enjoy them for that.
Next is the character designs.
I think we talked a little bit about the character designs. I mean, well, we definitely talked about Tuck, right? That's his name, Dennis Quaid's character's name, the pilot. He's Tuck. Yeah.
Is
we
that
talked about
Tuck or Puck? I think it's Tuck.
Yeah, I'm the worst
Puck
at character
is the
names.
character.
But then we haven't talked about Martin Short's character. Did you enjoy his journey in the movie?
The Martin Short character was Jack, right?
Yeah, the one who was the guy on the outside, not the guy in the spaceship that gets miniaturized.
And then Drew, and then he kills the other guy.
Yeah,
Stomach acid.
Yeah. No, but
I'm just glad that he didn't go through all of that glass. Because if he did, then both of them would have.
Do you think that Martin Short earns his transformation by the end of the movie, where he stops being afraid of things around him?
I have one thing that I think I got during the movie. Well, I'm not sure if this is correct, but I kind of feel like the only reason he went in there is because you saw he was very famous and money-wise. I bet he was so self-absorbed, and I bet the reason Tuck or Puck changed is because he saw how being self-absorbed can turn you into a very bad person. And then he changed himself so one, he could have a better life, and two, he could learn about how his brain works and everything, and three, he wouldn't wind up being some rich man who gets killed with stomach acid when you're miniaturized.
I love it. What did you think about the look of the movie?
I thought it was pretty cool, but I didn't get to finish my statement about that.
I'm sorry.
And so I think the only reason he wanted to go in there and kill the pilot and everything is because he wanted more money when he was already very famous.
Yeah.
The only thing he cares about is fame. And because like you remember in most of the movie, he would be talking on the phone and be like, "Well, hurry up! Hurry up! I gotta get this thing done so that I can be the richest man in the world. So hurry your butt up!" Slam the phone back in.
Yeah.
But it's pretty accurate. I just didn't say any of the cursing words.
No, that's true. And definitely distrust the super rich. I don't know that they always have the best of intentions in mind.
But some people, like...
Do you think that you can be super rich and be a good person?
Yeah, because it takes two. The story is that this one man had his heart taken by a woman who died right after his daughter was born.
Sad.
It takes two.
Yeah.
I just forgot his name.
It's okay.
He had Alyssa, and that. For some reason, I kind of feel like that I was saying a bad word. Alyssa.
That's a name. It's not a bad word.
Sounds like one.
All right. Let's talk about the look of the movie. What did you think about that?
I thought that it was pretty cool. My favorite part was the character designs, like Cowboy's black hair, and then my favorite part was when it would like move his face around to change the different faces.
You can't see because this is not a visual thing, but Claire is really just smushing her face around right now with her hands. Are you injuring yourself? That doesn't look like it feels
doesn't
good.
hurt.
Okay.
Because I'm just binging my skin.
Oh, yeah.
And not my muscles or my bones.
I see. So you're just smushing your face all the way around.
But I can feel my bones.
Yep. Yeah, I think your cheekbone is moving right now. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I love the scene where the face he does like Martin Short. I love the transition from like Martin Short pulling all of his silly faces to I think what I assume has to be like a robotic head with little flappy facial features, because they have some shots of his lip going like flipping way up and out from his mouth and stuff.
Like this?
Yeah. What'd you think of the miniaturization stuff when they were showing inside of his body? Did you buy that Dennis Quaid was floating around inside the body?
Not that much.
No?
It didn't look like it right. It didn't look right. Because when he was in because when he first starts with all the yellow bubbles, everything, that is your degermization system.
I don't think that was the immune system. I think where he gets injected, you see those yellow bubbles, those are fat cells.
Yeah, true. But when he gets closer up, he's like here somewhere, and that's somewhere where your immune system is, and we never saw that because I remember him going through like a tube.
Oh, so you mean like what if there were like white blood cells chasing him down in the course of the movie that he had to get away from?
Yeah, there should have been white blood cells because most white blood cells would think that you were bad if you weren't either white or red.
Right. So you're in a
or purple.
What's purple?
Purple is the medicine.
Oh, I see. I got
And
you.
well, purple sometimes it's not always purple. Sometimes it's purple medicine, but then other times there's actually, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like this purple germ. It's like this purple germ thing that fights off other germs to help the immune system. It's a germ that kills germs, if you get what I mean.
No, I get what you mean. I just don't know what you're talking about, though. I mean, I get what you mean. I don't know what that would be.
It's like a purple ball with a whole bunch of purple
spinies.
Yes.
Huh.
It's sort of like a white ball, but it's just purple.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
And then the medicine, it'll whether it's blue or pink or whatever, it's always going to go in the immune system as red or blue. Or purple, but most likely red or blue.
Okay. Well, what else would you like to say about the movie?
I want to say that the last scene where like this credits are coming down and he's chasing the limo because he saw that cowboy. But what I don't get is why they left the guys like that. Like, why didn't it shrink them all the way to the size of a pea?
Because when they're struggling to figure out how to use the bad guy's shrinker, they turn a knob down that says it's a shrink ratio, and they turn it to 50%. So they just didn't turn the knob down as far as they did for the other ones. Maybe like when you were saying earlier, shrink to the size, like what I was saying earlier, shrink to the size of the love of your heart. Yeah. Maybe they have a little love for each other. Maybe they had a little love, and it's just at the bottom of their heart. Or maybe it's just funny to watch somebody get shrunk down to half their size and have to walk around.
Yeah, it does look like a kid.
They look like children, right?
Yeah, except they have super small hands.
Their hands are so weird in the car, too. When they show him reaching around and grabbing and covering his eyes, it looks to me like somebody had little puppet arms on sticks and they reached around to the side.
I wonder if that was what happened. Because I don't think they could get a kid that had hands that small.
No, I agree. I don't think those were real hands at all, yeah. Anything else? Did you enjoy the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think your point about watching Small Soldiers is a good idea. If you don't remember it, we should definitely watch it. I enjoy that one. And, Joe Dante also did a movie called Gremlins. Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. We're worried about some ambient noise because there's
something upstairs. Because I have 2 little sisters and a mom.
Yeah, that's right.
Why wouldn't I have a mom?
Yeah. Well, some people don't have moms. It happens.
True. Some people don't have dads. Some people have 2.
Yeah, some people have 2 dads. Some people have 2 moms. Some people have no parents. Some people have a grandma or an auntie.
Some people have foster parents. Yeah. Foster brothers, sisters. Yeah. But all of my parents are for real. right now.
As far as you know, I'm real. But then we should watch Small Soldiers. We should watch Gremlins. We should also watch The Burbs, which is about a scary family that moves into like a residential neighborhood like ours. And the neighbors suspect something bad about them, and they become obsessed and try, and investigate them, and mayhem breaks out. It's a pretty great comedy.
Is the daughters or sons bad, or is it
No.
just the parents?
It's no. I guess their sons, they're a family. But yeah, the whole family is questionable. But who knows if they're good or bad? You got to watch the movie to find out. But it's got Tom Hanks in it. Do you know Tom Hanks?
Yeah, didn't he play the guy who thought that the dumb spy? They always thought that he was a dumb spy. They always thought that he was a spy.
But he
Russia.
wasn't?
Yeah, but he wasn't. They thought it was supposed to be. He thought it was supposed to be like a weird scenario.
Oh, a play.
Yeah.
Real life theater. The Man Who Knew Too Little.
Yes.
Yes. Did you watch that?
Yeah, I watched it with you.
You watched that with me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I don't think we did it as a podcast, but
No, definitely not. No, that's a shame.
we
That's a good
watched
movie.
it.
That guy is Bill Murray, not Tom Hanks.
oh,
Yeah.
I
But
think I've seen Tom Hanks before.
you've watched Toy Story, right?
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is the voice of Woody in Toy Story.
Oh, then yes, I have seen him.
Yeah.
Well, heard him.
Yeah.
Does he have brown hair?
Because
if he does, I think I've seen him in another movie.
Black hair, maybe? Claire, I don't know. I'm not. I guess it depends on what he's in. I think he usually has black hair.
I thought I saw him in the movie once.
Yeah.
Or maybe it might be Bill Murray. Because they
All
look
right.
the same.
Well, I think
of.
we've said everything that we have to say about this particular movie, and we've got some ideas for the future.
We forgot about the screen title, Innerspace.
Right. What were we meant to talk about Innerspace again? I forget.
Why it's called Innerspace if
Oh.
they're not going into space.
Oh, that's right. So when we watched the trailer, Claire said, "Why is this movie even called Innerspace? What does that mean?" And then at the end of the movie, you said, "I think I figured out why it's called Innerspace." But you didn't say why you thought. So why do you think?
I think it's called Innerspace because Jack's body is a space and he's inside it, and it's like and sometimes inner means small. So in a small space, or in a small place called Jack's body.
I think
And
it's
they didn't
also,
want to call it that, but I think a better name would have been miniaturization.
Yeah. I think Innerspace is a play. Well, it's like you said, though, the way you described it, yes, accurate. But I think it's also a play on outer space. Like if you're an astronaut, you go to outer space. And, Tuck wanted to be an astronaut and be a pilot like that, but he couldn't have it. And so instead he went to inner space. All right. Well, why don't you go ahead and close this one out and throw it to me over on the other side.
Okay. I am gonna say see you next time. I just wish that I could start up your segment.
Yeah, because you want to take over everything.
I don't want to take over everything. Bye, peeps.
Come on, where the hell's the picture? Come on. All right, Oz. It's not Oz. Who the hell is that? Where's the lab technicians? Where's the lab? Did Bugs just stand up? What's going on here? This can't be. I'm in a man. I'm in a strange man. I'll be a son of a bitch. I'm in a strange man, surrounded by strangers in a strange room.
And we're back on the other side. Wow. What a conversation that was. Oh my gosh. That was wild. I could not have been more surprised if because we, at the start of the movie, that interaction with Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan ends in her leaving him. And we paused the movie because she said, "Is that his sister or his girlfriend?" And I said, "Well, that's his girlfriend." And she said, "Oh, is she breaking up with him?" She asked. And I said, "Yeah, it looks that way." And I said, "Why do you think that?" And then, boom, immediately onto that. which I thought was fantastic and extremely well observed. And I was super proud of her. That was amazing. I think that she totally got this movie, and not just like understood what was going on in terms of the plot points, the major plot points. You know, like she understood character motivations. She understood the undertones, you know, the themes of the movie and the character arcs. I mean, wow, like she got this movie. So I'm really excited to show her more Joe Dante films, because I think that I think that that's one of the things that makes Joe Dante the master that he is that he's really good at telling stories that are totally graspable, yet completely engaging. And I think that really makes for a perfect storm, especially for like kids like Claire's age, who can then watch a movie and totally get the entirety of the message being offered to them. That's absolutely fascinating, neat, and wonderful. And boy, what a home run. I really enjoyed that. So definitely we will watch The Burbs, maybe Gremlins, maybe Small Soldiers. I think we'll definitely be working our way through the Joe Dante filmography. I don't know how many of them will be podcast episodes, but like Gremlins is probably a good podcast episode. All of them. I mean, any of Joe Dante's movies are good podcast episodes. I think that's one of the challenges that I've been having with this project in general, is that I feel like it's just kind of going with the flow of things and sort of feeling where Claire is at and where I'm at, and just kind of testing out the situation. And I wonder if there shouldn't be more structure to the selection process, but I don't want it to be like a class. You know, what I'm really trying to replicate with this is the experience that Claire and I already have watching the movies. I mean, because that's when we sit down to watch movies together, which we have done before the podcast. You know, we watch the movie, she asks questions through the course of it, we pause, we talk about it, and then when the movie's done, we continue to do that. And I like the natural flow of that, because a lot of those movies that we wound up watching together, you know, I would just have them on and she would come out and talk. And I think that she's the most accustomed to that, and I think that helps keep her in her element, where it keeps her focused and engaged and interested in enjoying what we're doing. But on the other hand, you know, this is a project about exploring boundaries, and maybe there should be something systematic about that. I don't totally know. And then on the third hand, I also don't know how, you all as listeners would feel about us recording 3 or 4 movies in a row by the same director or starring the same actor, or in the same franchise. Like, that was my reluctance to just jump right onto Terminator 2 or even Terminator 3, which she's really loving that series. And I think that they're very interesting to talk about and different enough that it's engaging. But I felt like maybe that would be Terminator overload or Blade overload. So it's challenging. It's challenging to pick the ones that should be for the podcast. And it's challenging to find a way to, preserve the ability for her to engage and to also at the same time systematically expand her ability to contextualize stuff. But boy, I tell you what, she's a real natural at drawing comparisons. I love the stuff with Descendants and about the spell about shrinking down to the size of the love in your heart. Amazing. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic. So I don't have much else to say other than that tonight. I think Claire crushed it. And I think that enjoyment and that ability to get it is really kind of answers the mail on that front. So I think to that end, we'll go ahead and close that out this time. We'll go ahead and close out this episode, I mean to say. And if you are not following us on the Twitters, you can follow Bill and Claire's Excellent Adventure on Twitter at BACEA Podcast. And you can follow me personally at WBDAS on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And I think on Letterboxd, I'll probably start a list of the movies that we've been watching and maybe post some links in the Letterboxd thing to that. So, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, that could be something that you can grab and then show to somebody else to help kind of introduce them to what's going on, and they can pick and choose where they want to start from there. So I'll start working on putting that together. As always, Bill and Claire's Excellent Adventure is an In the Mouth of Darkness production. And you can follow that podcast at itmodcast on Twitter, and you can go to facebook.com/itmodcast and like and follow the page there. And you can follow the rest of the dorks, Brad Gullickson at MouthDork on all social medias. You can follow Lisa Gullickson at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow her at Baked Dork. You can follow Brian Young at The Turtle Dork on Twitter, at The Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram. And, jeez, I still haven't learned which Facebook page it is. My gosh, I still haven't learned it, but I'm pretty sure it's Brian B. Young on Facebook. I messed it up. And then, as always, you can follow Darren, the Disco Dork Smith, at the Disco Dork on all social medias. And that'll do it for this time. Until next time.
I'm an old cowhen from the Rio Grande, but my leg's not full and my fist not thin. I'm a cowboy who's never seen a cow. Can rope a steer 'cause I don't know how, and I'm not for to start learning how. Yippee-i-oh-hi.